Hey guys, recently we've been hearing two kind of conflicting opinions regarding, I guess, the near future of our economy. On one hand, you have the economic data, right? For this past month, May, the numbers were pretty strong. For example, we added like what, 30,000 something jobs, which is a really good number. But then you have, on the other hand, executive opinion. For example, the C-suite officers of a bunch of high-profile public companies, for example, Elon Musk, right, or the CEO of JP Morgan, they voiced concerns regarding the state of the economy in the near future, right? Saying that the recession is going to be here soon and it's going to be really bad. So now, like, you're kind of faced with a dilemma. Do you trust the data or do you trust the executive opinions? And given the current culture of making data-driven decisions, I wouldn't be surprised if most people, say more than 50% of the people, choose to trust the data, right? And uh, and I come from kind of a mathematical data-driven background as well. However, when it comes to the a matter of the economy, I choose to trust the executive opinions, right? So today I kind of explain to you my thoughts, why I do this, and if you have something to add or different opinions, feel free to leave a comment below. Okay, so the first reason I trust the executive opinions when it comes to the economy is that the economic data reported usually or often, more often, are not accurate, right? And I'm not saying that the numbers reported are bad, right? Saying that the Bureau of Statistics did something, they're not using the right statistical method. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, I guess it's more of something like. For something as complicated as the economy, you can't get the full picture of it, right? Using just very few simplified measures that we see in the kind of the quarterly reports, right? So I guess the let's just take this example. Let's say you have two economies, right? They could have the same GDP growth, they have the same or like say unemployment numbers, right? So all the aspects that they could measure, they could be have the same numbers. However, one could be heading towards a recession and the other could be heading towards growth, right? So it's just that it's more like the economic data is often incomplete, right? And another kind of example I would really like to quote is look at this Russia-Ukraine war, right? That's happening right now. Before the war, I guess nobody nobody really thought that Ukraine would win, right? Because if you look at everything on paper, Russia, in terms of just military power, Russia was like 10 times greater in almost both qualitatively and quantitatively, right? And then you could say, okay, got to look a little bit, like deeper than that, right? Look at the economy. Say Russia economy was, say kind of vulnerable, right, to sanctions. But I think there was a reason why, like all the leaders in the West acted the way they were, like in the beginning of the war, right? They were not confident in Ukraine because, okay, sure, maybe Russia does have, it does have like I guess some weaknesses, but as the second largest military or second strongest military in the world, they could crush like Ukraine within a week or two, right? But then you look at what really happens, right, on the battlefield. So there are a lot of things that that couldn't be measured, but they were really pivotal to the result of the war. For example, this logistics and supply chain fiasco that the Russian forces were experiencing, right? Because they're short on fuel, food, everything. That caused the Russian soldiers to abandon their weapons and equipment, right? Which are relatively technologically advanced, right? So there you go, right? So these examples demonstrate that sometimes the economic data you could be facing kind of a similar kind of flaws, right? Like they don't measure the full picture of the economy, and we know that the economy is a very complicated phenomenon. And then the second reason that I trust the executive opinions is that the economy or business activities in general is actually more of a matter of I guess expectations of predictability or just business confidence, right? And if you recall, for example, macroeconomics 101 or 201, whatever, you see that for example, when it comes to inflation, expected inflation often plays a very important role in like in predicting the future inflations, right? So these executives, right? they are so they their expectations are getting lowered, right? So that means they are going to, and they're, because they're in such, such powerful positions, that means they're going to take actions, right? So for example, new projects or expansion plans are going to be canceled, right? And if you go one step further, you could do hiring freezes, right? Or you could just start laying off people, right? And these executives, they did announce plans for layoffs, and some of the layoffs are actually already happening, right? And because these are, the high profile public companies with like hundreds of suppliers and, customers, right? So you see that their expectation is actually going to trickle down, right, through the chain, right? Eventually their customers and suppliers are going to lower their expectations. Maybe you see that their suppliers also kind of, let's say, start their hiring freeze or start laying off people, right? So you see that this kind of like rippling effect could be very significant, right? And then some people might be saying, okay, why can't these executives have, I guess, have good expectations, right? You guys are so evil. Like, are you trying to accomplish something? I don't know. You're just trying to lay people off. No, I think that's really kind of to my third point, is that um, these executives, right? There's got to be a reason they feel like they lower their expectations, and it's usually something that uh, they like, something that they can't verbalize, more of a gut feeling, right? And they know that something's wrong, but maybe they can't verbalize it. They just choose to not, publish it in a kind of in a statement, or maybe they can't verbalize it. It's just kind of like the gut feeling. I know that, something's odd, but I just can't tell you what exactly it is until it really happens, right? And why do I? This sounds very fluffy, right? But why do we still do that? Well, because the reason we can't really explain, like, what exactly we're worried about, probably because it's at the subconscious level, right? Like you know that something's wrong, but right, but because it's subconscious, you can't verbalize exactly what, right? And this is, you also see this kind of being validated in some of the practices we see in our society. For example, when companies hire say managers, especially executives, they value a lot about, like, the value experiences a lot, right? Actually, not, your degree, right? Especially kind of your undergrad, right? Of course, that could play into, into the decision, but mostly, like, what's your experience in managing large projects, right? Or managing companies like this. So experiences, they kind of impact you in a bit of a subconscious way. And because, if you can, these executives, right, if you can make your way to the C-suite, like, you got to have something really outstanding about you, right? So their gut feelings sometimes are a way better indicator, a way better leading indicator of, business activities than those, hard code numbers, which are often lagging indicators. And thank you for listening.